What is up, RotoGrinders? We did it. We're in double digits. It's week 10 NFL Pick 6 show. Myself, Dean Shavelson, joined by two of the absolute best in the industry. John Daigle, ETR, established the run. Rich Hribar, sharp football analysis. The trade deadline has passed. We don't have to talk about trades anymore. Most of them didn't happen. What do you know? A.D. Mitchell is a Jet. Rashid Shaheed is a Seahawk. Jacoby Myers is a Jaguar. Some defensive trades happened as well. Rich, any takeaways from and takeaways from week 9? I'm told in the we read the comment section on the YouTube. We appreciate you guys comment,
for better or worse.
Yeah, we apparently don't. We kind of just pretend like last week didn't happen. We try to be a forward-thinking show, but if you have any commentary, what you got right, what you got wrong on week 9, and just anything, big takeaways from the trade deadline was mostly kind of uneventful. And Dallas, I guess, is thinking about next year, I suppose.
I mean, they're trying to show up there. Listen, when you're 3-5-1 and the rest of the NFC all has 5 and 6 wins, you've got to dial it up and start trading draft picks.
I saw Daigle shake his head. I don't want to cut off Hribar, but I think you're more locked in on Dallas. Dallas thinks, hold on, maybe I missed something. They think they have a chance to do something this year?
I don't think that. I think the owner and GM understands that he has to keep interest peaked. That's his job as an owner. He's also as an advertiser, which he shouldn't be the GM, but we've done this for 40 years. So it's just the same conversation over and over again every single year. And when all the headlines are directed towards your defense, which outside of the Bengals is another historically useless unit, then your job again is to bring everyone back in by making a splash deal, regardless of if it is a detriment to your future. So that's what they did. I don't know why Jerry Jones had to come out on Monday before the team even played and mention to these guys who are going to war, even saying that we got a linebacker, like we made a trade today. So now these guys who are doing their best for you are also like losing their confidence every single week because they know they're getting replaced 24 hours later. It's just, they're just a joke of a team. The worst part is the last 2 weeks against, and maybe it's because they played the Broncos and Cardinals, but the last 2 weeks, the offense isn't even fun. That's the worst part because now they just look like an overall terrible team, and we'll see if they adjust with a rookie head coach after the bye.
The motivational tactic, it turned out, did not work. It backfired. They lost to Arizona. Rich, you have anything as far as the trades, anything of note? Shaheed in Seattle is kind of interesting. Probably hurts him, but maybe helps Seattle just as like being a bigger threat to make some noise come playoffs. Thoughts?
Yeah, fun one. Yeah, that's a fun trade. Him and Clint Kubiak, he was awesome the opening, 5 weeks with Derek Carr last year before the injury. He's going to trade like volume, but his quality of target's going to be way up.
Yeah.
So it's one of those trades, right? Like where you're like, oh, this guy was running, 33 routes per game. He'll probably be running 25 routes per game, and he'll have a fewer counting targets, but the quality of target is going to be significantly improved for him. And he's going to open up even more stuff for Jackson Smith-Njigba. So if you thought Jackson Smith-Njigba couldn't get any better, man, I actually think Shaheed's addition makes him even harder to defend.
I think
45% target share. What's going to be now?
Yeah.
I believe, Rich, you mentioned JSN was leading the league in yards per out run from play action last week on this show. And the Seahawks obviously knew what they were doing because number 2 and yards per out run with play action is, of course, Rashid Shaheed this year.
All right. 10-game slate this week. We don't think about Dallas. We don't have to talk about their trades they made. No Bengals either, so no games that are going to – we'll see. 90-point totals or so. Cincinnati.
No one's going to have 60 rushing yards because we don't have the Bengals and Cowboys, so running backs aren't going to matter at all.
No Cincinnati, no Dallas, no Kansas City, no Tennessee. Just 10 games this week as far as the main slate because we're losing a game to Germany, Atlanta, and the Colts. They're over there in Germany. 7 early, 3 late, 3 main games. I saw in the chat they were guessing the 3 main games. I saw 2 out of 3. Somebody meatloafed it. That's not bad at all. Of course, Daigle, you do our selections here. The very first game we're going to focus on as far as the 10-game main slate, it's Baltimore at Minnesota. We saw McCarthy come back last week. Minnesota is a home dog here by 3 points. 48.5 is the total. Baltimore, of course, desperate to compile some wins. Still, I presume the favorite to win their division. I would imagine. I've not checked the most recent odds, but I would imagine that's still the case there for the Ravens. Daigle, open it up. We have Minnesota and Baltimore.
This was the one that was the wild card. As Sean Walters mentioned, New England, Tampa Bay came close. Detroit, Washington also came close. We'll discuss a lot of those players probably when we get to the positional plays. But for the Ravens and Vikings, at least it's an indoor matchup. And we got Lamar Jackson back. That's what's important here. So you can come at it from two angles. One, you can come at it from the Ravens can be supremely efficient against this Vikings defense. We know that Brian Flores leads the league in blitz rate, and that used to be something that we would point out against Lamar Jackson because it was a detriment to him, but that all changed with Todd Monken going back to last year. Lamar, even last season, was 5th in yards per attempt against the blitz with 14 touchdowns. Last week, although this is kind of Miami's calling card, is that they will blitz your face off, just not get there because they're so bad. But last week, even when Miami blitzed Lamar, he went 10 of 12 for 8 first downs and 3 touchdowns. And so if that's what's going to happen, we start the slate. We look at the top. We're like, okay, you need to match Josh Allen. You need to have a ceiling here. And there are a lot of pocket passers that can have 3, 4 touchdowns on the slate. But I think Lamar Jackson's potentially one of them to put up a ceiling game. And then, of course, if that happens, we also know that on the surface, it doesn't look like much. Just 5 targets for his wide receiver 1, Zay Flowers, last week. But also, they only threw 23 passes. And so that was actually a team high 22% target share. And when Lamar's been blitzed this year, Zay Flowers has seen 29% of his targets, a team high mark. And so I like to open up the slate thinking, okay, Lamar Jackson, Zay Flowers is fun. That, of course, gets more fun if the Vikings push back. And we don't have to discuss that just yet because I'm questioning if that's going to happen, if J.J. McCarthy can push this Ravens defense back. But Lamar and Zay are at least a discussion point.
Your thoughts, Rich, as far as Baltimore?
Yeah, I mean, Lamar's got 25 or more fantasy points in every game he's played. This is kind of a fun matchup, right? Because Brian Flores was like the original breaking point. It's like a big fulcrum point in Lamar Jackson's career. The last time last time Brian Flores and Lamar Jackson played was back in 2021 all the way. And they haven't played since. And that was the night where Brian Flores just spammed cover 0 blitzes at Lamar. And everyone was like, this is the recipe, right? He faced, that's the most snaps in his career. He's faced cover 0, 21 snaps that night. They haven't played since. It'd be real curious to see if Brian Flores maybe dusts some of that off. Even as Daigle pointed out, against the blitz, he's been good, but even under Monk and Jackson, the man blitzes are still a problem for him. This was the same thing as last year. This is where Sean McDermott made the correct calibration in the playoffs. Only 4.6 yards per pass attempt against cover 0 under Todd Monken, Lamar Jackson. That's been the only thing in recent years to slow him down is these man blitzes. It's some of it's just mortality versus it's choosing the lesser of evils. Because against zone blitzes, he averages 12 yards per pass attempt under Monken, but it's 7.5 yards per pass attempt. So it's it's not even bad. He's still 13th in the NFL against but just all right, well, he's not getting 12 yards per pass attempt. So you feel a little bit better about it. And as good as the game plan was in getting the Minnesota Vikings a real life win last week, and they've had just Jahmyr Gibbs in hell last week, and just ruined by Jahmyr Gibbs, call tank some Jahmyr Gibbs teams that I thought I was going to get leverage on the field on. But Jared Goff, when he still wasn't pressured in that game, was still 18 of 24 for 9 yards per pass attempt and 2 touchdowns. That's the story with Minnesota this year. When they don't get home with these exotics, they get crushed. When they don't get pressure on the opposing quarterback, they're 29th in yards per pass attempt. They're 20th in touchdown rate allowed. And Goff still had 19.5 fantasy points last week. Week before that, Justin Herbert had 25. The week before that, Jalen Hurts had 25. They're still giving up points, even though Brian Flores did his job in getting a real life football win. We still got the points we needed.
Do you have a favorite pass catcher for Baltimore, Rich? Is it the obvious one, Flowers? Do you like Andrews as the cheapie? He didn't have much volume last week, but he had the old touchdown deodorant, couple touchdowns, got in the box twice. Is it just that obvious?
Yeah, I like Flowers too for all the stuff Daigle mentioned. I will say Flowers is a dude though, when he's ever popular, I don't want to be in on him. Because he has no touchdown equity.
The usage last week was definitely frustrating. Yeah.
Well, he does. This is the story of his career. He has 19% of the team red zone targets. He has 6% of their end zone targets. This is when they get to the money time, this is where the tight ends show up. This is where the Derrick Henry shows up. Zay Flowers is like the running back from Varsity Blues, right? Like he's got a score from far away. You get like Lamar, can I get one? Like, like, wow, like that's his problem. So I do like Lamar or Zay Flowers like on plays where he could be like leverage, but like anytime he's popular, it's just like, well, he could have 8 for 95 as long as he doesn't get in the box. I'm gonna be all right. So we'll see what tracks the rest of the week. But I think the obvious stuff, like Daigle said, though, it would be him for the guy that's objectively the siren song. Big Dog's probably the more interesting piece, like to talk about, just because this Minnesota run defense is all over the map, right? Like they go 1 week to giving up 135 yards to Kenneth Gainwell. Then they completely shut down Saquon Barkley. Then the week after that, they give up 150 yards to Kamani Vidal and Jarrett Patterson. And then they come back from that and just nuke the Detroit backfield for 65 yards on 20 attempts. They did get Van Ginkel back last week. And they've only faced 30 runs this year with Van Ginkel on the field, but they are allowing 3.3 yards per carry on those attempts. But Big Dog's probably the more interesting way to see if like you can get cute on this slate because it's not like an objectively top heavy slate either. Like CMC is there, but like we don't have Jamar Chase this week. CeeDee Lamb's on by, Rashee Rice on by. We do have Puka and Amon-Ra on the board, but like at running back, there aren't a lot of like really like strong pay up plays.
But if you are trying to jam those top plays, it does become pretty tight. Again, I do think quarterback, tight end especially, tight end's wide open. But yeah, we're going to have to find some cheap plays still along the way. And every time we've said that so far, we are at the time of the year where Kyle Monaghan is always waiting on Friday to open it up.
Yeah, by the time we talked about last week how the pricing was so tight and restrictive. And by the time we got to Friday, it was like, dude, put whoever you want in your lineup.
We record on a Wednesday night. A lot of people listen to us on Wednesday, but certainly some fired up on Friday. Like, what are these guys talking about? The cap is tight, and the slate is always it's
we're gonna get the ball rolling, like we're the snowball up the mountain,
There you go.
By the time you get to Friday, you've already got some ideas, and then when the salary opens up, where to apply that.
We've not seen JJ McCarthy throw for more than 160 yards in his 3 starts. I know it's small sample stuff. Does he have the ability to punch back? We don't know about isn't Aaron Jones questionable right now? It's kind of up in the air? I don't know how much that matters. I think Mason's kind of priced up anyway. Just of note, I suppose. Mason on DK is 6'2", so even like the backfield's heads, that's still, not amazing.
He's in buns too, man. Straight cheeks.
Yeah, that doesn't help either. Minnesota, McCarthy, Rich, how do we feel about the Vikings?
Yeah, we're waiting to see JJ McCarthy be put in like a negative game script, right? Like, because that hasn't happened yet. Minnesota Vikings have been pretty conservative with him because they've been allowed to be. Even the game like where he was like objectively terrible, the Sunday night game against the Falcons, like the Falcons never ran away from the Vikings. And, like they hung around, but they only have a 55% drop back in McCarthy's 3 games compared to a 67.2 rate with Carson Wentz in those games. So like we're just hoping that this would be another spot where like, hey, they fall behind, they've got to unleash some passing here, because it's really nuked like Justin Jefferson. Like he has 2 touchdowns in the 3 games with JJ McCarthy, but he's only run 27 routes per game with a high of 30 routes. Like with Carson Wentz, he was running 39 routes per game. That's like how you get those counting stats, even when your quarterback is pretty volatile, like a Carson Wentz. So he's just got to be on that type of volume. Justin Jefferson's still a really good player, but it just shows you that you have to be real fine. You have to operate on Jackson Smith and Jigba levels. Like it's really hard to do that. Like it's really hard to average 4.5 yards per out run. It's no one's done it through 9 weeks of an NFL season except for one player. So that's just what we're looking for, is can we finally get the Vikings kind of put in a spot where we have to see the Vikings lean on JJ McCarthy.
They don't. I guess they trusted a broken Carson Wentz more than they trust JJ McCarthy. It seems like they don't want to fully unleash him. Daigle, what do you have as far as the Vikings?
Yeah, similar to Rich, that the Vikings now with JJ McCarthy have dropped to 30th in pass rate over expectation in his starts. And last week, only Cam Ward had a lower expected completion rate across the entire league than McCarthy. The Ravens defense also, since they've returned, which is something we were monitoring since before their bye, everyone, offense and defense, was injured. Since they've come back, they've only played Caleb Williams, although he was Week 9's overall QB1. Don't check the receiving box score. and Tua to this point, but they allowed single digit passing points to both quarterbacks. So, and there's again a signal for that, and simply that they were getting healthy. JJ McCarthy has added 6 rushing points per game to give him like a palatable floor. When we're talking about pushing the Ravens back and then playing these guys on the other side, at least right now, I don't think I'm going to get there. I think last week, if you did so against the Lions, it made sense trying to pay down at quarterback to get up to other positions. But right now, I do not see myself playing JJ McCarthy, if only because I am going back into a mode of respecting the Ravens defense. Even on the ground, again, these last 2 games since they returned to their bye, small sample, I know, but they've been 4th in EPA per carry so far as well.
Like, what are the odds Jefferson outscores Amon-Ra, Puka, JSN, Egbuka, Collins, Adams? Can he separate from that group?
I think that's more of a leverage question based on their ownership. But in a vacuum, no, I'm not picking him to project better than those guys.
I mean, he's just he hasn't been a good DFS play once this year.
Mm.
Really? Is there not one usable score based off his salary?
On a salary, I would say no, right? Because he didn't score any touchdowns with Wentz.
Week 4 and week 5, he put up 25 and 22 DK, but that's really, considering his salary, kind of worthless. I was going to say the big dog, but he at least gave you week 1. Week 1, he put up a big number, but he's not done anything since, Henry. But all right, anything else here as far as game 1, or shall we scoot along and move on to game number 2?
I'm going to see where – go ahead.
Go for it.
I'm going to see where Henry's ownership falls when we talk about Christian McCaffrey, Achane, James Cook. James Cook didn't practice on Wednesday either. That may be the guy we're waiting on, Ray Davis, on Friday. We'll get there in a bit. But I'm gonna see where Derrick Henry falls, just because it does seem like when the Vikings have honed in on the running game, again, you can super concentrate your defense to try and at least stop Saquon Barkley, like Jahmyr Gibbs, but then let a Kamani Vidal fall by the wayside and not focus your defense on that. And so I don't know what they do in this spot with everyone healthy, but I'll wait to see Henry's ownership, because I do think it's good leverage if we get there.
What did you average?
Oh, no, I was going to say, I wrote about this before the bye when the Ravens traded for Alohi Gilman. Because they had a Darius Washington get hurt in the preseason, and they were playing Kyle Hamilton back at like original safety. And like, I wrote about this in the worksheet and like had some stuff on it. And then Ben Solak, who's awesome. If you guys follow Ben, he's on ESPN. He did like a whole video breaking down on what they were doing with Kyle Hamilton after the Gilman trade. And like, he did it so eloquently better than like my ball knower ass like could do it. But like, basically, like, he's like Kyle Hamilton is like the queen piece on the chessboard right now. Like, he's playing like linebacker, like edge defender. Like, he's playing on the edge right now, like slot corner edge is what he's doing, and it's just really wild what he's been able to do. There was a play on Thursday night where, and God bless Kirk Herbstreit, but like the Dolphins ran like a wheel, and Kyle Hamilton just like absolutely boxed Devin Achane out, and like Herbstreit was like trying to sell like it was a good play, and like on like a 6'4" cornerback that like it's like, what are we doing? But Kyle Hamilton he's like absolutely on that. Like, that trade is unlocked. And the Ravens do this every year. Like, they had some injuries, but like the Ravens for a couple years in a row now have been really bad like the front month of the season defensively, and they always calibrate and make the adjustments to get there.
You mentioned the Thursday night game. I know we always we have a contention when it comes to red zone. What view do you watch, Rich, when you're watching the game on Amazon Prime?
Oh, the what is it? The Field Vision or whatever it is? Yeah, it's like the Sky Cam now. Yeah, the Sky Cam.
Yeah, it's beautiful. You know what I'm talking
about? You just appreciate passing so much more from the Sky Cam. Like, the windows that these dudes are, like we lightweight, or even like flippantly like discuss JJ McCarthy, are like, dude, playing quarterback is unreal. Like, and we dunk on dudes, like, we're like, this dude sucks. Like, there aren't even think about this. There aren't even 32 people on the planet that can do it well enough right now.
There aren't 13 people on the planet that are doing it well right now. I've watched every game. I know.
Absolutely wild. And the Sky Cam, like, I feel like you just get such a better feel. Cause like when you see someone on TV, you're like, oh, that guy was open. But then you watch a dude like layer a ball over a defensive lineman or a linebacker like on time, and you're like, look at these guys. Like,
yeah, so we're in agreement that is how you're supposed to watch the game. Also, it outs like somebody like Tua, who I guess he didn't want to take a hit, or throwing the ball away when nobody's on him and just pass it. I mean, I guess we've trashed Tua enough, but it's been a tough season for Miami. It's unfortunate they haven't signed for the next 4 years or so. But all right, let's move along. Let's talk about game number 2. Oh, before we do that, we should mention, before we talk about game number 2, Rich Hribar. We have a new exclusive deal for our listeners. You can unlock all of Rich Hribar's exclusive fantasy football analysis over at Sharp Football, 50% off with code PICK6. That's PICK, the number 6. Go to sharp.football, use code PICK6 on a weekly, monthly, or season-long fantasy football package to save big. All right, game number 2. Rich, you're going to lead this one off. It's the Giants. The Giants at the Bears. The Bears in an absolute bonkers game against Cincinnati last week. My brother had the Bengals +2, and that was the weirdest bad beat because he never should have been there to start. But then, wait a second, how did I not get this paid out? What a wild, tough one for the bettors out there who were on the Bengals. But all right, 48.5 is a total here. Bears are 3.5 point dog favorites at home versus the Giants. What do you got, Rich?
Yeah, that was the game last week. You know, when we were doing the show last week, we had no idea who was going to play in that game, so we just kind of glossed over to hey, this game could be like the carnival ride. Both defenses are terrible, but we didn't know like Flacco status. We didn't know DeAndre Swift status at that point. And then once Monangai got in, the floodgates opened. And that's what we're going to be waiting for again this week, because even if you want to try to poke holes, and Monangai did this against the Bengals, sure, yeah, because even Britton Brown came in and had 37 yards and a touchdown. But Monangai still had a league high 59 rushing yards over expectation. He went over his expectation on 54% of his runs. And if you want to say just that was still Bengals adjacent. Well, guess what? Faces the team. The Bengals are the only worst run defense in this run defense. The Giants actually allow the most yards per carry to running backs. They allow the most fantasy points per touch to running backs. They've allowed 11 touchdowns to running backs, is the third most. They're 29th in rushing points allowed to running backs, and they're 29th in total yards per game to running backs. So Ben Johnson made it sound like the end of last week that they were going to be pretty cautious with this injury. This would be another spot at home to where they would say, all right, we can give, he earned the trust, right? We can heal up DeAndre. And we give him another week. So it's Wednesday again. We'll have to wait and see what happens to DeAndre Swift. But, I peaked at the prices. What did Monangai go to? 6'5"?
Pulling it up right now. He's 5'6". You flip it.
He's not even adjust proper. Not even adjust.
You lock it in if we have no Swift.
Not even adjust properly. So that's what we'll be waiting. That'll be the big news. And because, if this game has the initial weather heebie-jeebies or whatever that are going on right now, it turns into a running game, it's going to be a lot of Kyle Monangai.
We touched on that pre-show. Check out Cheap and Just Kevin Ross weather report. He does have an early report out, but again, this is Wednesday night. Weather is fluid. Don't freak out about it. We're not really going to talk about it. If things change as the week progresses, sure. But I think he had it yellow orange on a Wednesday night. But again, nothing that I'm freaking out about. John, you got boots in the ground actually.
Yeah, boots in the ground, man.
Yeah, and soccer season wrapped up last week, so I'll actually get to watch noon games for a change rather than going back in the evening and watching this stuff. It also is a spot for Chicago. It's not just that Christian McCaffrey got there last week. Even Brian Robinson came off the bench for 50 yards and a touchdown too. So everyone's getting there. Yeah, we're locking in Monangai if we get it. Let's wait and see on the weather, but I do think it's a good bounce back spot for Rome Odunze. Rough run out. I understand completely. To have 89 combined points, nearly 1,100 yards of total offense between the two teams, and Odunze gets 3 targets for 0 yards. But we are talking about a Giants defense that, as we know, plays top 5 rate of man coverage, and the signal has been there against man coverage for Odunze so far this year. 26% of his targets against man. He's 21st in yards per route run compared to 39th against zone. And the Giants, including Juwan Jennings, who 40 yards to the touchdown, are allowing 9 targets per game to opposing wide receiver ones. So I do think it's a potential bounce back spot here for Odunze, which is my favorite pick if the weather shakes it up. But it's also fun on the other side of the ball, too, because I don't know if it's just because they've played less than stellar competition of late, But since their bye, the Bears have been better against opposing running backs. Like Chase Brown got there because Samaje Perine got injured. And so then all those targets then get dumped underneath to Chase Brown instead for 75 receiving yards. But even then, 3.3 yards per carry. They did their job. I understand Cooper Rush or Tyler Huntley was under center, but the Bears did their job in limiting Derrick Henry to 71 yards on 21 carries, even though he scored 2 touchdowns. And Ja'Cory Cross-Merritt also held him 3.5 yards per carry. So again, that could be the competition, but it could be because they figured something out and their defense remains so banged up in their secondary that that's the way to attack them here. Again, with Jackson Dart, who's probably going to flash as another popular play because sites are still not accounting, at least DraftKings, for his rushing floor each week as well.
Robinson, Slayton, or a la carte?
I can't answer this question without being biased.
We're
gonna get the 2 touchdown game from Slayton at some point. And I don't want to be the one that keeps coming to this show and saying that, since all he does is lead them in receiving yards. And we saw like he scored 2 fewer points than Wan'Dale Robinson last week. But the way Wan'Dale Robinson wins doesn't matter. Like when Slayton wins, it's going to help you and his salary staying the same. I understand why, but it's going to actually win a tournament. Whereas Wan'Dale, I'm not worried about him beating me.
You got to read on that, Rich, as far as a little less biased. Of course, I know Daigle wants to tout his Slayton. It's going to get there one of these days.
I didn't want to tout. You asked.
Oh, no. Yeah, for sure. I get it. If you're going to play Dart, Rich, do you like him by himself? You could play Johnson as well, I suppose. Or would you just play him just solo?
Probably solo, but there's a case to be made for both guys. I mean, it's every week with Darius Slayton, he has the almost play. Like Ian Hartitz used to do the Sheesh report. I don't know if he still does that but like every week it's Darius Slayton. Like before he hurt his hamstring, he had the flea flicker that was like shorted on him. The 2 weeks ago, he had the 70-yard touchdown that was called back on the OPI that really wasn't much there. And then last week he had a 34-yard touchdown and for some reason took his hand off the ball to brace himself for the fall. And because he did that and like, you just wrap up the ball and fall down. And he dropped a 34-yard touchdown because he tried to brace himself from a fall. Like it's every week with this guy. It's one of the plays, but like his last 3 full games, he's over 20% of the team targets. They have a pretty concentrated target tree. Like they really throw to Wan'Dale, him, and Theo Johnson in the red zone. Theo Johnson doesn't get any targets outside of the red zone, but once they get the red zone, he's the opposite. If we could turn him, if Zay Flowers had more Theo Johnson in him, like we'd have something. We merged them into one player.
The target tree too is also another selling point because, like, for instance, last week I played Kendrick Bourne trying to get leverage on a 49ers offense I was very high on. Plus, Mac Jones was still under center. We expected the 49ers to have success, so I didn't mind that at all. But then all these, ancillary jabronis coming out of nowhere. Sky Moore with a 20-yard catch. Jordan Watkins with a 19-yard catch. And it's like, all right, well, where did Kendrick Bourne go among all this? And he still spiked a couple big catches, but like little Jordan Humphrey is not a thing unless Darius Slayton is injured. It's still those 3 guys.
Rich, what happened with this Giants backfield? Is it worth the energy? It seemed like most people assume be Tracy. Singletary is 4.3. I would just mention that's really cheap. Is that going to continue going forward? We just don't care and just cross out the Giants backfield.
Similar to last year. I mean, Tracy's never been a guy that like has been able to hold on a job. He got banged up in the second half of that game too. He got nicked up, but like we saw this, like this is just a fluid backfield. And like Daigle said, I mean, since coming out of their bye, the Bears are allowing 3.7 yards per carry to running backs. That's 7th in the NFL. They're 9th in success rate. And Chase Brown in the box score out there, but he had 14 targets. He didn't do anything running the ball. So I'm not really looking at the Giants backfield here as something I want to chase. This is why I didn't play Tracy last week even when we did this show, like he was the guy kind of popping. And also I'm still very bitter about Jalen Warren getting there when he had 29 yards on 18 carries and got 2 touchdowns.
Like 7 turnovers to put him in the position to score touchdowns as well. Was it 6? Maybe I'm rounding up, but yeah, I think Pittsburgh got 6 turnovers. You feel the same, Daigle, as far as the Giants backfield, just more trouble than it's worth?
Yep, it's the same thing. I said, where again, maybe it's just the competition they've played less than stellar compared to the first half of their season so far. But I do think they could have turned a corner, and they're just easier to pass on right now. And so I'd rather just play it through the air here, assuming the weather holds. I might not get there, but the salaries, at least across the board, between Jackson Dart, Theo Johnson, Darius Slayton, they all stayed so cheap that they continue to be good leverage. Like if you find yourself trying to get off ownership because it's all collecting around one 4K wide receiver, or one cheap tight end, which it's going to be against Jawan Jennings again because they didn't bump him at all.
Are the season-long people overreacting a little bit to Loveland's game because of that last play, Daigle? Is that something that's kind of baked into the questions? Are you going to allow a lot of Loveland stuff?
Not really. I think everyone's actually handling it really responsibly.
Okay.
I think we've all done this so much where we're actually like the meta of what's happening now. Like we've all done shows now where we talk about the players who just played the Bengals and Cowboys the following week. Like we're to the point now where we even say these teams just played the Bengals and Cowboys. So like we're like the sixth wall looking in right now, like Confucius predicting these things. So I think just anytime a player goes off, now everyone just looks to the box score to see where are they playing, the Cowboys or Bengals. Even last week, I know the highlight that caught fire on social media was that Cole Kmet touchdown. But again, like maybe even the Cowboys wrap him up and he doesn't score that touchdown. It was like one of the easiest touchdowns he's ever had. And I point out that Cole Kmet, we're going to wait out Cole Kmet's injury. Like last week, there's a lot of moving pieces here. I didn't see if Olamide Zaccheaus was in large field winning lineups, but he was very playable as a cheap punt with or without Caleb Williams if you got there without Luther Burden last week. But Cole Kmet still, whenever he was out there, Loveland still ran around on 63% of dropbacks. Like they were trying to use Loveland a little more. So I think Loveland's fine. Much easier to get there if Cole Kmet's out. And then we'll just wait on ownership if Kmet plays.
I thought the highlight of week 2 was the 2 pumps. That wasn't the highlight. That was the highlight.
That was a good one. That was a really good one.
The post-game quotes from everything I've learned, from everything I've been taught. 2 pumps is acceptable.
Good for Rico Dowdle, too, by the way.
I started GoFundMe for that. If there's a fine, people will pay that fine. Start a GoFundMe for it. All right. Anything else?
How many passes does Caleb Williams catch in this one? There's nothing better when your quarterback catches a touchdown pass like right off rip. You're like, oh my god!
And he had 2 receptions too.
Yeah, he had 2 catches. Tyler Bateman came in and threw.
They expanded the playbook for sure. Ben Johnson was in his bag in that game.
I mean, what a fun football game! Like, what an absolute.
That's what it should be every single week. Just 2 horrible teams.
That T. Higgins touchdown was absolute bananas. Like, there was just awesome plays in that game.
2 more receptions than Rome Odunze for Caleb Williams.
What's funny is Rome had a catch that Cole Kmet threw, and it came back as a penalty.
And you mentioned, Reeves, that we didn't know Joe Flacco's status on Wednesday. The Bengals didn't know his status on Sunday morning. They said he couldn't even throw the ball forward. Like he couldn't move his shoulder forward as of Sunday morning, and he suited up and played, and he looked just fine to me because he played the Bears.
What did they shoot him up with, Flacco? Did anybody test this? Because, I mean, whatever. I'm sure.
Well, you saw Cam Little got drugged. You saw he posted that he got drugged.
Yes. Yes. Just completely random. He got hit with a drug test.
You got that random drug test when you hit that 68-yarder.
That was pretty funny. Okay, let's do it. Let's knock out game 3. Game 3 is the Rams. It's the Niners. We don't know who's playing for the Niners. We'll do our best to figure that out. San Fran plus 3.5 at home versus the Rams.
Yeah, and Todd Bowles. We gotta get these guys.
Daigle,
I'm done. I'm over Todd Bowles, man.
That's it.
Yeah.
Daigle, Rams, Niners.
Yeah, should be a fun one. These teams played last month, and it's almost like it's a new game because there were so many different pieces in this one compared to the last one. I'll start with the Matthew Stafford side. In this game last time, the Niners still had Fred Warner, number 11 overall pick, Michael Williams, who tore his ACL this past week, as the Niners are just catching the absolute worst defensive luck right now of all time. But even in that game, it went to overtime, but a season high 47 pass attempts. Stafford had 389 yards and 3 scores. And there will be a point there will be at some point where we can easily leverage and bet against Stafford. He's been amazing, don't get me wrong, but he's also had the benefit of the doubt and the perfect run out against that injured Ravens defense, the Jaguars defense in London, the Saints this past week, just a lot of teams who were injured or don't get pressure at all. The thing is, this is another matchup of that. Even from a clean pocket so far, now without a collection of some of the best defenders in the entire league, the Niners have dropped to dead last behind the Panthers in creating pressure and standing upright. Only Jared Goff has more touchdown throws than Stafford this year from a clean pocket, which Stafford has thrown 16 of his 21 touchdowns from. So I do think it's another fun game to think about Stafford, Puka, Devontae Adams doubles here. And it's an interesting wrinkle because Kyren Williams, remember, that last game, the Rams fell behind by multiple scores in the first half, and so that's when they logically eliminated Blake Corum. But also, Kyren Williams has reached 10 targets twice in his entire career. Both times came against the Niners, including that past matchup when he finished with career-high 8 catches and 66 receiving yards for 2 scores. So if we think they're hanging around or build a lead, there's also a reason to believe, like, if Kyren Williams is going to catch ownership, you don't necessarily have to go there if you think Blake Corum's going to be hanging around in a closer game as opposed to last time. So just lots of interesting discussion points here because we're expecting a lot of points. It's the second highest total on the board for week 10.
Not just that, but the Blitz game level factor is also projecting it for the most plays as well, which is of note. Rich, wherever you want to start or knock out both sides of the Rams and the Niners.
Yeah, I mean, we're waiting to see, are we going to get Brock Purdy back? Are we going to get Ricky Pearsall back? We'd have no idea right now because there's no honesty from Kyle Shanahan ever.
Or no IR.
But, I mean, listen, Kyle Shanahan always gets up. When he plays McVay, like, these dudes always get up for each other. Like, you saw, everyone thought that going into that Thursday game, like, why are they even playing this game? They might as well just rest McCaffrey. Like, you know, they went into that game. That's what Kyle Shannon's like. Watch me dial some stuff up. Like they gave 22 targets to Kendrick Bourne and Jake Tonjes in that game. You know, they didn't have anybody available on offense, and he still pushed them the entire night. They had 407 yards in that game. They still scored 26 points. Also, the Rams had only a 28% pressure rate in that game. Their second lowest of the season. They only had 1 sack. Like, I think it was the first touchdown they scored where they go heavy. And then they transition they shift to like wide personnel, and it gets Christian McCaffrey and a linebacker out of like a heavy package, and he scores a touchdown. He was in the bag the whole night. So these guys, like I said, Shannon's going to get up for this game. They're going to find a way to score points, even though this Rams defense is absolutely on fire, and they have been for since these two teams played earlier in the year. So I do have confidence that even though the Rams look like an objectively bad matchup on paper for everyone, in this matchup, because like they haven't given a rushing touchdown yet to a running back, but you've even seen it. Like Christian McCaffrey had no infrastructure though when these teams played the last time, and still had 140 total yards and had 30 touches. And Shanahan can't help himself. Last week they were up 10 with under 2 minutes to go, and McCaffrey was still running the football.
Mm-hmm.
Like this guy, like he can't help himself when he has Christian McCaffrey. Like he had 33 touches again last week. I don't know when the shoe drops or if it will drop, but man, like. Christian McCaffrey, what a gift he's been this year.
Is it like a 400 touch pace for the season? What is he at as far as his pace? It's got to be something goofy, right?
He has 229 touches right now. So
okay.
I don't know what the math is for extrapolating that.
That's more than 400, I think. Yeah. I mean, I saw
they played 9. They haven't had a bye, so.
Okay. I saw the Schefter notes. They weren't very helpful. Yeah, Purdy limited in practice with his toe. Pearsall not practicing with his knee. We haven't seen him for a while. And you know, the practice with the window, I don't know exactly how the window works, but it may be opening at some point for Brandon Ayuk, but we're probably not going to see him for a while.
But they'll have Kittle. They've got a healthy Juwan Jennings. Neither of those guys played in the first game.
Gosh, if Pearsall's already not practicing I can't imagine they let him do, after missing a month, 1 or 2 practices, then get him out there. I think we're just getting the same group again with Juwan Jennings, Kendrick Bourne, and the other guys dancing around George Kittle.
You're not going back to Kendrick Bourne this week?
I learned my lesson last week. No, again, I thought it was good leverage last week. I said that. I mean, I'm the one who played it. Of course, I thought it was good leverage, but I did not expect the other guys to suddenly be involved also. So the fact that I can't even just get Kendrick Bourne and a 4-headed target tree, no, I'm not going back Kendrick Bourne this week.
Puka expected to play, by the way. He's got that rib. He left the game last week. He should be fine, according to Sean McVay. He seems to have more of those than most players, just kind of leaving the game for a series or two for various reasons. But
I was caught since he's come in the league. I say he's got the Anquan Bolden gene. Like, his play style is very much like Anquan. Like, he's a crash test dummy, man. Like, he's a bully. And sometimes that gets you in trouble.
Was it somebody else in the Cardinals, or was it Anquan Bolden who like broke his face?
That was him. That was Bolden. Yeah,
he played with a broken face, right?
Yeah, against the Jets. He came back later in the year with like some kind of like he had some kind of screws or something. I forget what it was, but he came back in the playoffs that year. That was the year they made that run in the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it was technically called a broken face, but they classified it as a broken face. But it was
against the Jets. I remember that game like distinctly. Like that play. That's like a play you don't forget.
Yeah,
that's how Puka plays a lot like that. And again, McVay can't help himself. He got hurt on an end around on a 4th and 1. Like, you know.
Yeah, that's how wasn't Lamb hurt on an end around or something like that, or just running across? I think it was on a rushing.
It's just football. It's the way it is. You got to call it what it is. But sometimes Puka, he's gonna bang himself up a little bit. But we know that where the ball's going between those two guys, which is what we love.
And the other one is like Davante Adams is just like anytime they're at the 5-yard line, right? It's just. Is he leading the league in red zone targets or close to it? I believe he is.
He has 16 targets in the end zone. That's 59% of the team targets. Is number 1 in the league.
That's amazing. That's a lot.
Again, Zay Flowers is like, can I get one? Can I get one end zone target, Lamar? Can I get one?
Even when Puka was on the field last week in the first half, he was targeted on 40% of his routes. Like the man and Sean McVay, they all know one speed together. It's like, if this guy's available, if he's out there, he's getting hammered the ball. That's just the way it is.
And these dudes want to beat each other. That's what makes these games so fun. Like these.
It's trying to see if there's anything like of note as far as early ownership stuff, but it's again Wednesday night. You don't want to dig too deep into that. But I wanted to see if there's anything like distinctly different, and I'm not really seeing that as far as the receivers up top. And I was thinking of Puka versus the guys, his contemporaries around him. JSN,
Puka and Amon-Ra. Well, Amon-Ra should be popular.
We have Amon-Ra 22%, Puka at 14, JSN at 16, Egbuka at 22. Because he's got a bit of a discount there, but also there's some concern with how healthy. Do we think he's healthy, Egbuka?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Jawan Jennings, even at his salaries, like, did you just look at expensive receivers or?
I was looking at the expensive ones up top.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just want to make sure, So, because they literally didn't budge Jawan Jennings, and like the Rams are still leaking points to wide receiver ones. It was garbage time, but before the bye, Travis Hunter still got there for over 100 yards against them. Last week, take whatever you want, but both Chris Olave and Rashid Shaheed at least had some splash plays for 50 receiving yards. This is still all Jawan Jennings. Once again, led the Niners from Mac Jones in targets last week. So, Jawan Jennings at his salary is still a great play.
So he is super, super chalky on a Wednesday night because of all the reasons we laid it out. Yeah,
he's just so cheap too.
The wide receiver 3 for cash games as of right now.
Yeah.
Jerry Jeudy also hitting some stuff. I'm sure people are thrilled.
No, we're not.
No, I told you the first
Jets defense got worse.
The first thing when I made no rules, the first sim I ran before the show, I told you gave me Keon Coleman, and I just logged out. I just exited out. I didn't want to touch it anymore. I was like, be gone week 10.
Yeah,
so you're getting me to play Keon Coleman.
So that's what I first looked at. I was like, okay, let me see here about James Cook, Christian McCaffrey, and Puka Nacua and what happens. And yeah, you just gotta. Again, we're expecting things to open up, but there's got to be some salary relievers here.
Yeah. How cheap? I'm trying to think. They're giving you from Buffalo. You're talking about. They're giving you Coleman. Is he like 3 something or is he in the 4s?
I think he popped onto the FanDuel sim that I ran.
Oh, okay.
Not on the DraftKings.
Let's say DraftKings Judy's 3.9. So Coleman.
Oh my God.
Coleman should be cheaper than that.
Yeah, Juwan and like Taz are probably. I've got one pretty gross cheap guy that I think is pretty interesting this week.
I got one Stone Min.
Oh, nice.
All right, now I'm interested.
Stone Man.
Somebody was thinking about stopping the pod. They're like, you know what? I'm going to stick around for that. I want to hear
horizontal teams to a 3K guy that's not going to do anything.
Hell yeah. One other thing that's cool is it's not cool for fantasy, but like the Rams, since they haven't really been playing a wide receiver 3, like for real football, it's fun. They've been playing like this 4-man tight end rotation, and like they're actually like throwing like their last 3 games, they've actually played 13 personnel on like 40 and 45% of their snaps, and they have the 2 highest throw rates out of that this season. Like it's just cool stuff. Like these coaches like find ways to get new creative. Like McVay's flipped the script this year. Stafford leads the NFL in dropbacks under center. When you get to play under center, this has made a big difference for the Cardinals. Like a big part of the Cardinals turnaround is they've gone from static shotgun to playing under center because you can do more stuff like pre-snap motion. You can do stuff with the play action game, and McVay was ahead of it. Like this was clearly the game plan coming into there because Stafford's been operating this way the whole year. He's at career high under center rate though. You want to combat playing like coverage and shell coverage, like we're just going to go big and play bully ball against you. And they're throwing out of it, which is fun. And it's when you put like that type of stuff in the hands of like madmen that can call plays. Now, granted, in the playoffs, like McVay is going to not go for some 4th down and 1 and cost them the game. But like when you're cooking up all kinds of different fun play designs to beat the defensive meta, like it's just fun stuff, man. What they're doing.
Got to get the Rams on a showdown slate when you're deciding between.
That's what it is.
Allen and Ferguson.
I get some Terrence Ferguson in my showdown.
Dude, I mean, I would be playing 100% Terrence Ferguson if this were a showdown game for sure.
He's averaging the last 2 weeks over 20 air yards per target. Like,
yeah, and honestly, if you need someone cheap behind Trey McBride, tight end's kind of a mesh of a bunch of guys. So if you play Stafford, I wouldn't hate it. I wouldn't blink.
No Brock Bowers on the main slate. Is Kyler just not comfortable under center? Or why is that changed with Brissett, Rich?
Yeah, probably what the either he's comfortable with. The Eagles have gone through a little bit of this culture this year. So the last 2 weeks the Eagles have played, Jalen Hurts actually has his 2 highest under center rates of his whole career, the last 2 games. And part of that is Cam Jurgens got hurt. They did say like they were going to have it be part of the offense too, with even if Jurgens didn't get hurt. But like, so their backup Brett Toth he struggles to snap out of the shotguns. They just went under center more with him. And you can run more play action. Like Jalen Hurts, the last 2 games is perfect passing. Jacoby Brissett, I talked about those splits. Jacoby Brissett has 43 dropbacks under center. They've used play action on all 43 of them. 100% play action rate under center snaps.
That's a great stat. The Seahawks defense has to know that, right?
Yes. Well, again, you heard Greg Olsen rip out. Like everyone knows what the Seahawks are doing too, but like no one's calibrating to adjust it.
Interesting. All right.
I think Noden was in the chat too. Yeah, Kyler's 5'1", so he can't be under center. He's not really 5'1", but close enough.
Chad also corrected us. Apparently, that was a parody account, and the kicker we got hit by the. Yeah, that was a parody account on Twitter where apparently Little wasn't actually hit. Yeah, I did too. I saw it as well, and you never know what's real these days. Okay. We're done with the 3 main games. We're going to run it back, talk about our favorite plays, position by position. Before we do that, do want to mention you can get a 3-day pass here at RotoGrinders. You want to try our NFL DFS tools without a full season commitment. Get a limited time, get half off a 3-day NFL pass, access everything you need to crush the slate. You'll get the optimizer tool, lineup HQ, packed with player projections, ownership percentages, much, much more. You'll also get SimLabs NFL. That is the easiest way to build smart competitive lineups. Just a few clicks. All that, much, much more. Less than $10, $9.99. Do not miss your chance to get an edge. And also time that correctly. Make sure you're timing that correctly. Probably want to make sure you include Sunday. If you want to get a longer commitment, a bigger sub, get yourself season access, NFL DFS season access. Why not get more bang for your buck with Combo Pro? The Combo Pro deal for a limited time. You get your first month of Combo Pro, $79.99. That's just $5 more than NFL DFS monthly. NFL is just a la carte. The Combo Pro is football, baseball, basketball, hockey, college basketball, NBA, PGA, LOL, CSGO, everything but NASCAR. Do not miss your chance to get these elite options. Check out the links in the description. All right. John? Give me some quarterbacks. What quarterbacks we've not yet discussed that we like?
I was hoping you'd say Rich because I got 2 really bad ones, and it's but it's okay. It'll work like a palate cleanser. It's fine. All right. So again, when I'm looking at building lineups this week, I think about the top guys that I don't want to fade, like a Christian McCaffrey, like Puka Nacua. And then I start asking, okay, how do I insulate offenses here? How do I still reach my upside at the quarterback position? First of all, Marcus Mariota, naked. By the way, I don't even need to play anyone with them just because of the way the Lions play defense. I believe that's why they've struggled to spy quarterbacks all year long, including the past month. Patrick Mahomes had 10 carries for 32 yards and a touchdown. JJ McCarthy last week, 9 carries for 12 yards and a touchdown. So do think Marcus Mariota can get there naked. And then, I mean, the one you got to...
Something worse?
Oh, yeah, buddy. We're going all the way to the bottom. Okay, again, insulating offenses, just thinking about good matchups and how do we spin up. And to this point, Tyler Shuck has struggled because of being under pressure, 1 of 17 for half a yard per attempt under pressure so far. But again, the Panthers, as I mentioned, are second to last in creating pressure. Also, Rico Dowdle, if he plays, is going to be an extremely popular option, probably even popping cash games. So let's just insulate the game. Let's just go to Tyler Shuck and Jawan Johnson for only less than $8K of our salary. We tack on Rico Dowdle in a game stack, and then we can play all the expensive players. So I'm also mentioning little 4,300 Tyler Shuck.
Why did Chris Olave increase in salary after last week? He's 6'2" now on DK. He was 6'1" last week.
Because they knew he'd get traded. They knew Rashid Shaheed would get traded.
Yeah,
3 days before it happened.
Wow, man. I thought you were at least going to try to push Davis Mills against the Jaguars.
No, I can't do that.
Now you're just chasing your best ball bags.
No. Can't do that, but I can say Tyler Shuck.
Producer TJ was thinking it was Dylan Gabriel, so we're dancing all around it.
Oh, Gabriel? Yeah, I thought he was going to say Davis Mills for sure when he started. I didn't expect the Tyler Shuck to come out as well.
Unfortunately.
With the Jets trading away their 2 best defensive players, I had the slight thought of like, is Dylan Gabriel playable? A guy just firing up a
Jerry Jeudy stacks.
I'll talk about Quinshon Judkins, but I can't get to Dylan Gabriel. I can get to Tyler Shuck somehow.
And Goku seems like happy he wasn't traded. If you see the quotes on him, he seems to be thrilled to be sticking around in Cleveland for what it's worth. But Rich, the bar has been set. Can you raise?
No, I cannot beat that.
Palate cleanser. Now that was the ginger. Now you actually get to eat good sushi.
I did not have the Wednesday night Tyler Shuck call on my bingo card for the Pick Six show, but
it's a first look podcast. It's a fluid slate. So
eventually he's got to have a good game, right? I think he's got to have one.
Maybe. What do you got?
We just watched 35 Rico Dowdle carries. Jared Goff, pretty obvious one, I think. Just this. The matchup here, I think even if the Commanders were healthy, it just stylistically was going to be a spot. But the Commanders are literally just bleeding out right now. It just feels like such a lost, hapless year for them. I mean, they put Dorrance Armstrong on IR 2 weeks ago. Marshawn Lattimore tore his ACL on Sunday night. Like, they are just down real bad. They, over the past 4 weeks, they're 30th in defensive success rate. They are 31st in points allowed per drive. But really, stylistically, is where we want to get back to here is, Jared Goff is someone that uses a lot of play action, right? 28% play action rate, 9.3 yards per pass tempo play action. He's 5th in the NFL in completion rate play action. And that's where just Washington has been absolutely crushed even before Sunday night. If you read my stuff, I was all over Sam Darnold coming into the week last week. We couldn't play him on the main slate, unfortunately, but Washington's been absolutely killed by play action this year. 9.1 yards per pass temp. They have allowed the most yards per completion on play action passes. They're 29th in touchdown rate. And then over their past 4 games, they've allowed QB1 scoring weeks to Caleb Williams, Dak Prescott, Sam Darnold, and Patrick Mahomes. Feels like a really good spot because a lot of people think the Lions are just like outright bad last week. Like most of their guys still got there except for the running game, but it's a really good spot here for Jared Goff.
It was good to see JMO catch a touchdown there and actually catch the ball. I think it went several weeks without actually getting a reception. And there was a bye week somewhere there in the middle. All right. Anything else as far as quarterbacks that are worth noting? I'm trying to see. So
I had Drake May still too.
Yeah,
Sure.
I mean, that Drake May Baker game could turn out fun, no matter what. Like, it's kind of how we talk about like the Rams and McVay versus Shanahan. It's like you give these dudes anybody like potatoes, and they might turn it a competitive football game. But I feel like Baker and Drake May kind of have that in their range of outcomes too. To just have like a old school, it's like these dudes are going to trade body shots.
it's a 10-game slate, but it feels kind of smaller to me just because 10 games, and you have Cleveland and the Jets, Jacksonville and Houston, the Saints and Carolina, all those like team totals under, game totals under 40. It's, and then Buffalo, Miami. Like, did neither one of you guys mention Josh Allen? Like, he's not.
I mean,
he's Clark Kent this week, right? He doesn't have to be Superman. So
you can't.
Well, it's Josh Allen versus the Dolphins, though, which I'm sure you're familiar in your area.
Dean. For
Dean.
sure. Yeah.
Josh Allen's basically played a full NFL season against Miami. He's played 16 games against Miami Dolphins in his career, 43 touchdowns, 4,300 yards. He's thrown multiple passing touchdowns in 15 of the 16 games. Also at 700 yards rushing. He averages 27 fantasy points per game against them. He just absolutely has owned their souls. The Dolphins cover a lot. That's what you can say. We cover a lot versus Josh Allen. But they don't beat him very often, and he scores a lot of fantasy points.
They also lost a couple defensive pieces, for what it's worth. The defense didn't get any better.
To be fair, the offense keeps like being game though. Like last week, they were in the red zone 4 times and didn't come away with points. Like they shot themselves in the foot a bunch. But like the Miami offense, like if you look at like throughout, like they have very few like outright duds.
Yeah, no, people scream about you got to fire McDaniel, and I understand like why there's some issue. Well, why people aren't thrilled, but whatever they replace them with, I promise you, will be worse. It will be worse, at least in the short term for this season. Almost definitely, they will be worse. To close out the season. Now that they want to lose, maybe that's kind of happening organically anyway. But all right,
yeah.
Rich?
I mean, the defense just isn't serious. Although they've started to stop the run like the last month, and we don't want any part of that.
Do we want Ray Davis if Buffalo says, "Hey, let's let James Cook chill for a week"? Would he be an interesting piece?
Sure, absolutely, because he'd be cheap. But I mean, let's not go crazy with the like. James Cook just had 30 touches, and it's Wednesday in November. Like, I'm not making that dude come to practice.
Correct.
Like, just hang out, James. Like, just hang out, dude.
Keep an eye on it. What do you have as far as right now, Rich? Who's locked in as some of your favorite running backs for Week 10?
Running backs, we talked about just like getting CMC and trying to see what happens with the Bears. And then just obviously like Dowdle right now is kind of the standouts. At the top. So, I mean, Dowdle's still not priced up enough either. Because this isn't just like a 3-game sample. I mean, his past 9 starts going back to last year, he's rushed for over 100 yards in 7 of them. Like this is an ongoing sample. This dude can pretty much play. And then when you look at the matchup here, so the Saints this year have trailed for 87% of their offensive snaps, the highest rate in the league. The Panthers are already 30th in neutral dropback rate, and when they play with a lead, they have a 41% dropback rate. So like this is just like a perfect spot to like they're going to give this dude another 30 touches, like 100%. The Saints have already allowed 6 RB1 scoring weeks this season. They're actually pretty decent on like a efficiency base against the run. They're 16th in yards per carry, but they face the highest run rate in the NFL again because they never lead, and they face the most backfield touches per game because again they never lead. So I mean, Dowdle and CMC, if you're like a cash game player, just sounds like that's where you're starting and going from there.
Are you confident that they're not going to ping pong back and forth? They talked hot hand before, and I know,
Well, the problem is the other guy has had no hot feet, no hot hands, no hot ligaments at all.
He's got a hot bank account, though. He's getting more money.
A hot bank account.
Does that matter? There's nothing else that says you should play Hubbard over him more, obviously. I guess what I'm saying is because they said hot hand, fluid situation. Has he, has Dowdle separated himself enough where you're confident?
No, man, because the guys in the locker room know it's the same reason why the Cardinals that Jonathan Gannon had to walk back on everything he said about Kyler Murray.
Yeah.
Because the guys in the locker room, Chuba Hubbard knows Rico Dowdle's playing better than him.
Yeah, of course.
So like it just is what it is, man. The guys know you got to play the dude that's balling.
Especially when you're winning with that guy and you're losing using the other guy.
Are they 5-4? Is Carolina sneaky okay? Are they sneaky?
They did this last year. Remember last year they took the Chiefs to overtime. They would have beaten the Eagles if Xavier Legette didn't drop a pass. Like they did this at the end of last year.
Daigle, who do you have as far as running back? Who's the Dylan Gabriel of running backs this week?
Well, he plays on the same team as I only have Quinshon Judkins to mention. The Jets haven't been a good run defense this year anyways, but without Quinnen Williams on the field, they have dropped to dead last in EPA per carry. It seems like it may be Tyrod Taylor, but also Tyrod Taylor under pressure against this Browns front seven or Justin Fields, regardless. This is not the Bengals front seven. It's entirely different defense where you can't run on them either, as they're allowing a league low yards before contact per carry. So yeah, I like Quinshon Judkins in a favorable game script this week.
I did see Tyrod practice, and he apparently he's healthy. But I thought for sure Fields had to buy himself at least a start or two. Is that?
I think he did. Okay. We don't know. We don't know of anything official, but yeah. I think Aaron Glenn sees it. I also think Aaron Glenn kind of wants Justin Fields to start anyways. He does give them more upside, but I don't think it matters also against Cleveland. Again, it's not the Bengals.
Trying to see if there's anybody else of note as far as running backs. I think we don't know about Tampa, right? We're not really sure what's going on there.
You shouldn't care.
Okay.
That's what makes that game so exciting, is that those are two defenses you can't run on at all. So all the production has to go through the air for it to be exciting. The game can only win one way.
Every single running back that's faced New England has rushed for fewer yards than what they've averaged coming into the game. And Rachaad White's been buns, straight cheeks.
And Tucker was eating into his stuff last week as well.
He got a little banged up, and we saw Tucker. So, I'm not excited to play Rachaad White at any level if the field can get there. He's been absolutely putrid since he took since Bucky Irving's been out. He is second to last in yards per carry. He is last in rate of explosive runs. He's not even catching the football a lot either. Was what you would be excited about for Rachaad White, especially in this Patriots match. You're well, I'm going to get a bunch of Rachaad White catches. That hasn't happened either, because he has faced some good run defenses, but they haven't run the ball at all season. Maybe Luke Goedeke coming back can help unlock that. But even Tristan Wirfs coming back, Tristan Wirfs has not been Tristan Wirfs from previous years since he's come back either.
Let's talk about some receivers. Daigle, do you want to? Well, you know what? I'm going to go to you second because you have that 3K cheapie I'm curious about. We got to keep teasing.
Should have gone to me second for Tyler Shuck too, but yeah.
Rich, receivers, what do you got?
No, it's got to be that. Well, I hinted at Amon-Ra, so we might as well at least lay out, the case for him. He came real close to getting there too. It was just short of the bonus. Got tackled at the 1 yard line. He was wide open on a touchdown that just him and Goff mistimed. But everything's still there for him. He's the wide receiver 3 in target share. He has the highest rate of red zone targets in the league, and then he also on that play action stuff is 3 yards per out run. Wide receiver 1's the last, like we said, Washington's just bleeding out, but Jackson Smith and Jigba on Sunday night, Rashee Rice the week before that, CeeDee Lamb the week before that, just spike week after spike week after spike week. So start there. And let's see, I won't take them all, but to pair at Drake May, I actually think this could be a spot to get back to Diggs. You look at Diggs, he could get a little bump here with the injury to Kayshon Boutte. Kyle Williams came in and just ran around last week. Yeah. So, and the matchup, I think there's some pretty good signal here for Diggs too. Even if he's still at the 75% route rate that he's been. But when he's been on the field, he has been targeted on 24% of his routes. That's wide receiver 20. He's the wide receiver 11 in yards per out run. And then he also has been targeted on 28% of his routes against the blitz, 2.64 yards per route run against the blitz. We know Tampa, what they're going to do. They also, because they blitz, they play a high rate of man coverage, and Diggs 3.3 yards per run against man coverage. He's just kind of a guy that is just kind of lost in the sauce in his pricing a little bit. And no one's ever excited to click him because he's not fully playing. But on a slate like this, at least on a Wednesday night from 10,000 feet out, this is where I'm shopping.
I'm trying to figure out. It's Stone Min 3K Daigle. It's not 3-1. It's 3K. Stone Min.
I have a cheap one too. This is the wide receivers though are terrible. On this slate, I talked about last week when we came in, we were genuinely excited for the slate because when I do my rankings, I can kind of get a feel. When I'm writing up the worksheet, I can kind of get a feel of how it's going to go. And this week, I got to wide receiver 7, and I was like, oh, I have to put someone next. I could have just put a gap in rankings, and then wide receiver 6, and then just started again at wide receiver 18 because no one deserved the number next to the name.
I couldn't believe that I saw the stat that Marvin Harrison has his career high receptions Was it 5 or 6? Was it?
Yeah,
It was. He had 6 in the first half, and that was the most he's had in any game this year. But he did it all in the first half against the Cowboys.
Yeah.
Because again, every time you listen to a Cowboys game, the announcers always have some kind of first time for this player to do this because that's the defense.
Yeah, that's the cheat code for sure. Put an asterisk by it. All right, Daigle, what do we got? Who are our receivers? That
I'll get the Stoneman guy out of the way because Rich did mention him. That Kyle Williams was running around, but also I do think he fits more seamlessly in place of Kayshon Boutte. Like for his career in college, Kyle Williams ran 81% of his routes out wide, where Boutte has led this team in routes run. Not to mention, as Reeb said, Todd Bowles blitzes a lot, leaves a lot of one-on-one coverage, and Kyle Williams was second among all wide receivers in this class and yards per route run against man coverage. So I think at the spot after he came on the field, once Boutte got injured for a route on 66% of dropbacks, I think at the spot where he could be utilized as their wide receiver too, or at least be extremely efficient on his limited opportunity. So that's something I'm willing to just pay down for if I'm trying to jam all the studs in, regardless if I play Drake May or not. I also want to touch on Nico Collins. No Davis Mills for me, but I'll go to Nico Collins after he was targeted on 28% of his routes once Davis Mills came into that game against Denver. Jaguars also giving up the most fantasy points to receivers from out wide. The only defense actually allowing over 20 fantasy points per game to receivers from out wide. So affecting Nico Collins not to have efficient targets, but to still have the opportunity to get there in that game. And then also if you're paying down, yes, Emeka Egbuka is the chalk option. But if it's going to be a shootout, I don't want to forget about Tez Johnson either, because we've seen his rise the past couple of games. This is assuming Chris Godwin's going to be out with 18% and 25% of the team's targets as just the more explosive option in two wide receiver sets, especially compared to Sterling Shepard. So maybe Egbuka getting healthier now with 14 days to rest. Maybe that does lend all the targets his direction. But Tez has been so good, he can still get there as a mid 4K guy, a cheap option if the game pops off.
I probably like Tez more at his salary than Egbuka, to be honest. I know Egbuka's going to be popping, but yeah, I mean, this is where we're going to find out, right? Like all the stuff for Egbuka, a lot of people are giving him a hall pass because of the injury, but what happened, to Egbuka is that they faced teams that played a lot of man coverage, and guess who doesn't really get open very often? Emeka Egbuka. And guess who's not very good against man coverage? Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield has a 43% completion rate against man coverage this year. That's ahead of only Cam Ward. He's 4.7 yards per attempt against man coverage, ahead of only Carson Wentz. Patriots, heavy man coverage, utilization team. Emeka Egbuka, 1 yard per route run against man coverage this year. Probably going to get shadowed by Christian Gonzalez.
Is Christian Gonzalez, did he get burned last week by Drake London? Or
none of the touchdowns around him. He gave up the one jump ball to him. London ran 16 routes against Christian Gonzalez, had 6 targets, only had 2 catches. And he had the long one that he did dunk on Christian Gonzalez. And he let Christian Gonzalez know he dunked on him too. Drake London was an absolute demon on Sunday. He might have had the best catalog of catches in one game a dude's had this year. He was
kind of has that stigma of being somebody it's good in cash game but doesn't really break slates. But he broke the slate last week with his 3 touchdowns. Okay, I'm glad you cleared that up. Oh, go ahead.
Speaking of getting dunked on, by the way, one more quick note before we move on from the Cowboys setting records on defense. That they traded Micah Parsons, and then they sold it as, okay, but we can afford all these other guys to bring them back, including giving $92 million to Deron Bland. And then on Monday night, this is not the first time it's happened, but on Monday night, we got to the point where Marvin Harrison Jr., of all people, was too shorting Deron Bland because Bland just can't keep up with wide receiver ones either. It's a travesty what's happening in Dallas.
Man, my man got crossed up. It's real tough seeds. His old teammate, CD, they showed CD the replay. He was like,
do we like the too small? Do we like the too small, or is it disrespectful?
No, I don't like the too small because Greg Dortch ruined it for everyone.
I'm about to say, I like it when Greg Dortch does it. I like when the small guys do it.
40. They're down 40
Yeah, he ruined it. That and the seatbelt. I'm over the seatbelt, to be honest, too. The strap. I'm over the strap seatbelt.
Yeah.
Because quarterbacks do it when they Greg Newsome gave up a touchdown to Brock Bowers last week and was talking shit to him. It was like, dude, when did this get reviewed, Greg? Like, and he's like talking about like it's incomplete. Like these quarterbacks have lost their mind, man. Like
when he got the butt
crazy,
down,
man.
on the review. Yeah, what an incredible game for Powers. 3 touchdowns for him last week. On the don't go too hard on Thursday night. Man, it's a slate we don't really care about. 3 days rest, just coming back from injury.
Going to Denver on a short rest.
Yeah, stay healthy, Brock. Come on, just chill. Just chill on a Thursday night. Speaking of Brock Bowers, no Brock Bowers, but we have some tight ends. We got to play a tight end. We're obligated.
I had 2 receivers left. One bad
go ahead.
one.
I'm sorry.
I had a bad one too, not as good as Kyle Williams, so maybe. But no, he's been. Well, I had another mid-range guy, Jalen Waddle, still. Since Tyreek Hill has been traded, he's got 23% of targets, the wide receiver 3 in air yards, the wide receiver 4 in yards per route run. He's the wide receiver 5 in receiving yards. Buffalo is 31st in points allowed to wide receiver 1s. Man, what a terrible game plan Matt Nagy and the Chiefs had last week, which took us a long time to get here to say that again. But just for them to run just so many deep routes against all that shell coverage that the Buffalo Bills were running, just nothing in the quick game at all. Just trying to press the ball downfield. It's played right into the hands of Sean McDermott, and then Joey Bosa channeled himself from like 5 years ago, Joey Bosa. But terrible game plan. But Rich Hribar still got there for us. And then my cheap one right now is Jalen Lane for Washington. We know that Chris Moore has been the Terry McLaurin replacement, but with this injury to Luke McCaffrey now, they were like splitting the ancillary snaps like 50-50. After Luke McCaffrey got hurt, he was on the field for 70% of the dropbacks. But we like him for this matchup because Jalen Lane, and again, it's a very small sample, but he's cheap. We're going to chase some small sample stuff. He's averaging 3.5 yards per out run against man coverage. He's been targeted on 25% of his routes against man coverage. And that's, where the Lions are living. So they're going to be throwing a lot. They can't run the football. They're going to be chasing points. So right now, as far as like the cheap guys go on a Wednesday night, he's definitely a guy that's popped early for me. Not popped, I should say. Just is looks usable, maybe.
Is he well ahead of Treylon Burks and Robbie Chosen?
I just told you when McCaffrey got hurt, he was on the field for 70% of the dropbacks after the injury.
Yeah, okay. That makes sense. All right. By the way, I was curious. I fired up the player profiler for Kyle Williams. I know there's some draft capital there, early 3rd round. His player comp, according to the player profiler, is Rashad Bateman. Does that check out to you guys? Rashad Bateman for Kyle Williams?
Not Rashad Bateman, the prospect, but I don't know. Man, Rashad Bateman, the prospect, was so good. There's a place in the multiverse where he goes to a team that throws the ball.
Yeah, to him also, but yeah. All right.
He was so good in college, though, Bateman.
Well, he was a first rounder, I think, or first.
Yeah, he was first rounder.
Okay, so I thought so. I thought he had some hype to him, but didn't quite work out there.
They had 2 dudes, right? They had 2 guys at Minnesota. Gosh, I can't think of the other name. Chat maybe will help me out. I thought they had 2 guys that almost overlapped with Bateman, and they had another receiver that was real good. And then I don't know if Minnesota football has been relevant since.
I don't remember.
I'm not your guy, but somebody in chat will let you know for sure. Okay.
I swear they had another dude.
Tight ends. Yeah. Let's knock out some tight ends. Well, Daigle, do you want to go first?
Let's see here. I also have, I only have one in capital letters. It's Trey McBride. It's since Jacoby Brissett took over, and I understand Seattle, we've really only pushed against them. Baker Mayfield did because they were injured. It's not a great spot for Jacoby Brissett. Everyone's excited following the Cowboys game, I know, and the Cardinals offense as a whole. But Seattle is still leaking production to opposing tight ends, including the 5th most yards per game. Trey McBride's usage with Jacoby Brissett is also elite, and that he leads his position in target share and end zone targets. And so even if the Cardinals fail here, Trey McBride does have multi-touchdowns in his range of outcomes.
Is there something about backup quarterbacks when they get in there? It just seems like a pattern. Flacco's like, okay, I'll just throw it to the best guy every single time, and the backup quarterback Brissett's coming in there. Yeah, let's just throw it to the best receivers. We even saw that in Houston. You guys were talking about with Davis Mills getting the ball to Nico Collins. Yeah, I think that's an interesting concept. Maybe we'll see that going forward, but I do like, McBride. He's getting in the end zone too. He's scoring touchdowns.
I got it. It was Tyler Johnson. I knew they had another dude that was good with him. And, Tyler Johnson's still hanging around.
shout out Chalky Talkie in the chat also mentioned Tyler Johnson. Yeah,
I was just scouring college reference to try to find it. Like, I was like, yeah,
I was not going to get there.
I knew they had two dudes that they overlapped, but Bateman was awesome. But McBride, if you could pay up for him, is awesome. For his career, Jacoby Brissett's targeted tight ends 29% of the time since he entered the NFL. That is 7th in the league. And we talked about all that stuff earlier, under center play action. Jacoby Brissett's been under center 46% of his dropbacks. They've used play action on 39% of his dropbacks, every under center dropback this season. Trey McBride leads the NFL in target share on play action passes. With Jacoby Brissett, it's actually gone up in terms of when they run. Not only is he getting targeted a lot in play action, they're running more play action. So that's always good. And then 4 career games against Mike McDonald's defenses, Trey McBride has 14 targets, 15 targets, 14 targets, and 11 targets. So if you can pay up for him, I mean, it's not easy right now on a Wednesday to pay for him. Underneath him, just following my quarterback again, Sam Laporta, just more strong signals for him in this matchup. He's been targeted on 31% of his routes against play action. Using play action, 3.4 yards for 2 route run. Washington also is just outright bad. I mean, they're bad against everyone right now, I guess, at this point, but like 31st in yards per target to tight ends, 30th in touchdown rate to tight ends. He still looks undervalued to me. And Daigle is going to bring up John Johnson. I'll let him do that. And then the other guy is just following again. My other quarterback is Hunter Henry. He actually was second on the team in targets after Booty got hurt. Buccaneers are allowing 5.6 receptions per game to tight ends. They're 28th in catch rate, 20th in touchdown rate. And against the blitz, Hunter Henry has been targeted on 26% of his routes with 2.8 yards per route run. Actually leads the team in receiving yardage against the blitz this year too. So options for Drake May.
Did you want to sell us Juwan Johnson, Daigle?
Yeah, well, last week from Tyler Shuck, it was only an 18% target share, but that's also because Shaheed was Shuck's favorite individual in having 29% of the team's targets. Now we remove that, and at least we saw last week, both Luke Musgrave and Tucker Kraft against the Panthers averaged over 10 yards per catch. They're really just allowing super explosive plays to opposing tight ends. So if we believe it's going to be condensed between Chris Olave and cheap Juwan Johnson, I definitely don't mind going there.
All right. Anything else of note as far as tight end?
How about Brandon Cooks? Are you going to get some Brandon Cooks in your life?
We're not getting
Cooks.
I mean, he's already been the dude, but he's been like fully out. Like he's been the third receiver.
He was out there. Yeah, he's always been out there. It just hasn't mattered at all.
He's another guy. It's like, wow, he's still in the league.
I thought when they kept saying the Saints are going to trade a receiver, I kept just thinking it was going to be Brandon Cooks. I was like, yeah,
Brandon Cooks.
He's just a body, man. Someone,
a fifth, sixth.
Someone should have traded for him. Just throw him out there. Let him get a ring, man. Bring him back, McVay. Retribution.
Did he get a ring on the Rams?
No.
Okay, I don't remember.
No, he was the guy that was open on the ball, like Goff was late to, where McCourty broke it up.
Yeah. Well, do the Rams have a chance of getting the ring this year? Is that what I'm hearing?
Absolutely. They were my preseason pick.
Wow.
Did
you probably got a pretty good number if you hit the books?
Yeah, I actually have Stafford to lead the league in passing yards too. So I'm gonna ride this out. I wish I had the passing touchdown. Yeah, that's when I bet it.
Quick trivia: how many career seasons of over 1,000 yards does Brandon Cooks have?
So is it like 4 or 0?
He did miss a lot of time. I'll say 3.
I was gonna say 7, so I'm 100% wrong.
Oh, I'll say 4.
Daigle wins as long as we're not Prices writing it. It's 6.
All right, 6. All right, sweet. Yeah, good player, man. He had a good career.
He had a really good. Did he have a streak of 1,000 yards?
Oh, to open his career, he did probably.
Yeah, I think so.
He didn't his rookie season, but then he had 4 straight seasons of 1,000 yards in years 2 through 5, and then 1 year he had 1 down year with the Rams. Went to Houston and had 2 more 1,000-yard seasons in a row.
That's when he was like on 3 different teams in 3 years. He was just kind of traded around as the deep guy for a while.
And the arrow celebration is not a celebration I'm sick of. You can shoot arrows all you want.
All right. I think that does it. Oh, favorite stack on a Wednesday night. Let's knock out our favorite stack before we talk about our movie. I'm excited to talk about bring in producer TJ, Rob should be coming in as well. We're talking about a House of Dynamite, the new movie on Netflix. Before we do that, on a Wednesday night, Rich, your favorite stack, if you want a game stack, if it's a team stack, if it's a mini, however you want to answer that question, what is popping for you on Wednesday?
Lions again. Just try to get my money back.
Onslaught?
Not with the running backs, I don't think this week though. I want the passing game. I want to do like Goff, Laporte, or Amon-Ra. Even J-Mo, we didn't talk about. I think J-Mo's play against the Commanders.
Triples? Detroit triples? Doubles?
Can you fit it? I don't know, but maybe I'm on the Lions passing game though. Did you remember Cody White scored last week? I was immediately like, yeah, can't wait to play the Lions to get them next week.
Daigle, what do you got?
Yeah, we should have mentioned Jameson Williams.
Yeah, we did now.
You know,
the passing.
The note on Jalen Lane makes me even more excited about Marcus Mariota, actually. So let's see here. And Tyler Shuck, Juwan Johnson, Rico Dowdle's also going to be in play. But really, I'm going to be trying to figure out just the best way to play that 49ers-Rams game. I think most of my pieces are going to come from there. Stafford, at least right now, Stafford, Nakua, Devontae Adams is so expensive in this type of slate, and especially if you want Christian McCaffrey on the comeback. But I'm going to tinker with it some more. So those are my favorite environments.
Yeah, and stuff may open up. This is the best we can do on a Wednesday, but certainly, stay tuned throughout the week. All right, that is an hour and 20 minutes on week 10. We're going to seamlessly segue and talk about our movie for the week. Later on, Rich is going to assign us a movie as well, although I guess he already has assigned us a movie.
For a slate we didn't like, we did talk about a lot of guys.
Yeah. Put a lot of lipstick on that pig. All right.
I wish that Steelers game was on this slate.
Yeah. Or even like Atlanta and Indianapolis would be kind of interesting, but it is what it is. We're all dealing with the same pieces. Okay. TJ is here, producer TJ, as well as Rob Coakley. You guys know Rob from Hometown Ghost Stories, Spike Week as well. Let's I'm excited. I'm excited to talk about this. I'm curious to get you guys your take as far as the House of Dynamite. That was this week's movie, directed by Catherine Bigelow. This is kind of her wheelhouse recently. I shouldn't say recently. It's their first movie she's directed like in 8 years or so. I think she's in her 70s. This might be it. I don't know. But she did Zero Dark 30 and Hurt Locker. Let me give you the synopsis if you guys are not aware. It's a brand new movie on Netflix. We are going to be spoiling it. So if you actually want to watch it, don't listen anymore and hit the like button. Subscribe. Circle back later on. I'll give you the synopsis here, the old Rotten Tomatoes synopsis. From Academy Award-winning director Catherine Bigelow, when a single unattributed missile is launched at the United States, a race begins to determine who is responsible and how to respond. Rob, hello. Welcome to the show. You want to open up? I feel like Rob's going to have a hot take on this. I really do.
You don't want me to start with this. Start with somebody else.
Okay. I can tell you hated it by just kind of the look on your face. Yeah. Does anybody want to open? I'm happy to open, but I like to kind of throw it to everybody else first to see.
You never get to open. Go ahead.
Well, I thought, first of all, I thought this was kind of funny. It just happened, by chance. The same storytelling mechanism to Weapons last week. We talked about Weapons last week, and it's very, very similar. If you saw the trailer, you kind of sort of saw the movie in some ways. You can definitely condense that movie down to 2 minutes or so. I'm a little bit conflicted. I would say the first act was amazing. The first act was awesome. It's setting you up for, man, this movie is going to be incredible. And again, spoiler, but it's chopped up in 3 different acts. And it's just like first act, now we get to a point where it's okay. There's a missile coming to the United States. We don't really know who sent it. There's a clock, 17, 18 minutes or so. And you're basically following, a variety of military personnel trying to figure out how to handle it, how to figure out where it came from and all that kind of stuff. You hear the president, you don't see the president. Eventually you see the president. It's Idris Elba. A lot of non-Americans, I don't think it matters, but Idris Elba, British. Rebecca Ferguson, I think she's Australian. She's one of the leads in this movie.
Yeah, the whole American government wasn't American.
Yeah, I mean, whatever, it's fine. But I just thought that was an interesting sort of side note. But so they count down. They get to the moment. There's going to be a bomb going off in Chicago. They try to shoot it down. They can't shoot it down. They're not successful. And they're counting it down. They're like down to 10. And we're 20, 30 minutes in the movie. I'm like, oh, this is going to be incredible. So it's going to be like the fallout is the rest of the movie. The fallout, we're going to kind of see okay, who do we assume it is? Are we going to attack somebody else? And then the screen goes black, and then they start it all over again. And now we do it from a different perspective, and we do this 3 times. And the second time it was effective, not as effective as the first time. And the third time, the problem with the third time is you already knew how this movie ended. You knew exactly. They set you up, and there was no more suspense because you know exactly. It's just like a race to get to 15 minutes, and now what's going to happen? Oh, nothing's going to happen. I think that's what's going to happen. It looked awesome. It was really well shot. The details are really intricate. The suspense built was so good in the first third. The first act could have been an incredible movie, and I still liked it. But it also is quite anticlimactic. But I think you should know that that's what's happening. And they just want to set up a conversation, and we'll get to it. I want you guys to jump in here as well. Now I'm ranting. But they kind of had it. They had to end it like that because there's nothing. What are they going to do? Here's the bomb, or here it doesn't go off, or goes off, and then that's it. That's the end. They had to leave it open-ended, just kind of the way they set themselves up. But I'm going to throw it to Daigle. Daigle, do you agree the first third was awesome?
Oh, surgical, flawless. Yeah. Like I love the details they were going into, even like trying to get everyone on one Zoom call, explain their jobs within the government, and then go from there. I completely agree. Let's back up a second, because then obviously we're dealing with the same director who did like an Oscar-winning film like Hurt Locker, like Zero Dark 30, which is also super suspenseful, not shot like this at all. And then my issue is that once the second and third act were unveiled, that's when it hit me. Maybe it should have hit me in the first act. I don't know. But they did such a good job of setting it up that I did feel like, even as the chat says, it wasn't realistic anymore. And I really lost, honestly, a lot of my the suspense I felt in the second act. And so from there, I was watching because I was interested, but it wasn't the same whatsoever. So to me, Hurt Locker, Zero Dark 30, it's not fair to compare them all, but they were just so much better movies. They were just much better done across the board, in my opinion. So I agree. And I think he really spoke for me with everything about, I was just let down.
The other thing I would throw out there, by the way, is the third act. Maybe they could have shown it from like the Russians' perspective or, China's perspective. They could have added them in because, everybody's freaking out. Everybody's trying to figure out what's going on, but they didn't do that. They just, the same characters over and over.
You can't do that without revealing that those countries do or do not know what's going on, because when you're going at it from this perspective, like you're going at it of, I don't know if we can trust them or not.
And they were going for more sentimental in the third act, correct? Weren't they going to like pull at your heartstrings?
No, I think they were just trying to.
The third one, if I'm being honest, like I thought, I agree with you guys 100%. The first act of this movie was incredible, and it kind of just went downhill the less Rebecca Ferguson it had, I found. But the third act, shout out to Angel Reese, that's fun. But other than that, it was just kind of boring for me. I thought this. To me, a better way this could have been formatted. And again, I know the story is not what happens after. That's not the story they were trying to tell. It's like when people, now this isn't as good of a movie as Oppenheimer, but it was like when people were mad by the end of Oppenheimer because you don't actually get to see the explosion, the fallout. When it's like, well, that's not actually what it's about. That's kind of like this one. But I think a more interesting movie is like we're playing these same 17 minutes over and over again, but it was essentially like 340 minutes instead of 317 minutes. I think it would have been a lot more interesting is if we were actually getting, this would have been way more difficult to shoot, but what close as we can to one shots in those 17 minutes from the different perspectives of each of them actually playing 17 minutes long. So you're feeling that intense moment of them being there. You then see it from the two other perspectives. And then the final act is these three stories converging on something we haven't seen yet. But I kind of thought this was a really bad movie, but a really interesting piece of art. It's not a good movie that you sit down and watch and go, this has 3 acts, this has a story that I can follow, and I am satisfied at the end of it. But I do think it's a very intriguing project as a whole, just giving us 3 different window viewpoints to this terrifying time of what it would be like for everybody in this story. It just wasn't, satisfying in any way, like, a 3-act movie typically is by the end.
You mentioned the Angel Reese thing, and there's a certain sect of the internet that loves to clown on her for shooting, and they actually said are you a better shooter than Angel Reese, which I thought was kind of funny. They asked Idris Elba, and I did look it up, and I'm not looking to clown at Angel Reese. She's great, but 18.2% from 3. I thought that was the internet loves to make fun of her shooting, but yeah, that was Idris Elba's pet goat moment where they just kind of let him know that we got to get you out of here. He was hanging out doing some kind of event with Angel Reese and a bunch of kids playing some basketball. Hribar, jump in here. What do you got?
Yeah, I mean, I pretty much think for with you guys a movie perspective, but I thought it was pretty good in in building up to how scary it would be if something like that were to happen. I thought they really did a good job with that. I think they really did a good job too of, now I'm not in the military. Shout out to everyone that is. You're a lot better person than me, but they humanized all of the military characters. I thought to a great degree, because these people are so procedural, you get drilled, you're doing this to do your job in one, for this one moment, and it fails, right? It fails, everything that you were trained to do, and you don't come through. And then, it's kind of the fallout with that I thought was pretty well done. But yeah, I pretty much echo everything you had. Once they did the first flip and they reset from the other perspective, I immediately kind of just I didn't check out, but it lost a lot of steam for me because we already knew that the missile had missed, and we knew I knew immediately we were going to get it because I knew ultimately it was one of these things that they wanted the conversation to be what would this happen, but she had nothing to say about any of these topics she brought up. And it's so you made a film with no conclusion on purpose, because to start that conversation of what would you do, but what are we accomplishing with that?
That actually is her quotes. Catherine Bigelow says, and the screenwriter as well, they intentionally wanted to avoid a simple resolution. They aimed to leave the audience to decide the outcome and spark a conversation.
Because it wasn't about that.
Yeah, they didn't really develop any characters. You weren't with anybody that long. You were with Rebecca Ferguson for the first half hour. I don't think we ever saw her again. I'm pretty sure we never saw her again.
Her family was the only one I was invested in. When she's just calling them, she's drive west, just go that way and don't stop. That to me was fuck, that's terrifying. And it's that's what you would do in that situation, right? You try and sneak in your cell phone, you call your loved one and just say, go this way, done. Now I got to go back to try to stop this from actually happening. And so that whole first act I genuinely thought was 10 out of 10.
Yeah. Well, what if it hits and we see Chicago burn and then we see it? Do you want that movie? Let's see how they react. And do they think it's the Russians? Do they think it's Korea? Is that the movie you want? Is that the problem?
I don't know.
No.
That's why I think this is a really interesting art piece that does spark a conversation. And there are pieces of it where it's wow, the acting is really good here, the writing is really good here, but it's not a satisfying movie. It's not something I'm happy this was a streaming movie and not a theater movie, because it's not in any way a story. It's a window of a story. It's a part of a story, but you're seeing this portion of the story from all these different perspectives.
And this movie we thought we were watching a horror movie. This movie was scarier than Weapons.
Yeah.
It was very
This movie was scary in the way that Don't Look Up was scary to me.
It was less believable than Weapons.
Yeah.
That's what I'll say.
Jump in here, Rob. We want to.
Yeah, we were waiting for you.
I thought I was going to be the only one who hated this movie. So that's why I was waiting till the end.
Yeah.
First act is fine. So it's at a disadvantage that we watch Weapons before we watch this movie because they do that same thing as Dean brought up. Weapons just does it 8,000 million times better than this movie does it because every time you switch to a different perspective in Weapons, it's not dragging a scene that you've already seen. It's adding to it in one form or fashion. You're just watching the same thing over and over in this one. You're barely adding anything in any of these acts when you're cutting back to these scenes. As you guys said, the first act is this movie. I went in and I typed in House of Dynamite Y on my computer after I watched this movie. And I was reading a interview with either the writer or the director, I forget which one. They filmed a lot more stuff. And then they were like, oh, but then we switched to this perspective thing because we thought this was more interesting, which means that the material was even worse. So they had to make a movie out of it this way because the material sucked. You have great actors, you have a good director, everything shot well, but when the material's not there, it doesn't matter. You still need material to make a good movie. This is not a good movie. This is a good short film, is what this is, more than anything. So the fact that this is going to get Oscar buzz is absolutely ridiculous. This is the most mid-ass movie I've ever watched in my entire life. Like the absolute mid of mid. I can't wait. Whoever that tight end is, Rich, that's whoever the most mid tight end is.
Who's the most mid wrestler?
So like it was almost insulting. I was like, you're just showing me the same thing. You're not really adding a ton of context when you're showing me from a different perspective. We're not learning anything new. We're just seeing people panic in a different way. So
there were no reveals. Yeah, when you see different perspectives in those kind of movies, like the way weapons, you'll get like a new piece of information. Like, oh, we didn't know that the first time around, and that changes things a little bit. So I do agree with that thought process.
It's not a reveal in any way, shape, or form, but the thing that I found most interesting with the different perspectives is just like seeing the different places that each person cracked. Because it was like each of these people, until a certain point, were like very heroic, right? They were very confident. They're trying to, each one that we were focusing on is reassuring those that are around them, or they're getting extra militant and really saying like, okay, we need to do this, this, and this. Everybody focus, everybody pay attention. And then they get to the point where everybody has a different stopping point, but like there's the leader of the, whatever that was, the leader of the majority who eventually just walks off the building. There's Anthony Ramos, the military guy.
What I wanted to do while watching this, I just wanted to walk out my third floor window.
And he just like bursts into tears and starts throwing up on the ground. And there's Rebecca Ferguson's character who just breaks after the phone call. And it's like, that to me was what I found most interesting with the various perspectives of like the shift when each of these heroic figures who's trying to save the country switches into a scared human who can't do anything.
Would this have worked better as a short story? Just like the first half hour and that's a short story and that's it? We're done?
Yeah. Because if you want to leave it open-ended like that,
film of 49, or how would it have to work? Of 51 minutes, where each of these 17-minute perspectives was actually 17 minutes.
Yeah. I mean, it took us a while to get there because of the setup. Yeah, but once we got there the first time around, once it was like 18 minutes or 17 minutes, whatever it was, I think they held true to that on all three. I don't think they budged on that. I'm pretty sure that they stuck to that 17, 18 minutes.
There were some that I'm pretty sure we got like a 4-minute scene, and then there was like 1 minute difference on the countdown.
Yeah.
Okay. I could be wrong.
Like the Idris Elba scene with him talking to his security person who's holding the little nuclear football. Like that was like a 3.5 minute scene. And there was like in the previous scene that we saw that phone call conversation, he said, I need 1 minute. And then he actually takes 1 minute and then comes back on the phone.
By the way, is that the least charismatic we've ever seen Idris Elba?
Gotta be.
He's always charismatic, and he's the president. You got to be charismatic. In theory, you got to be charismatic to the president. Just as an aside.
How many days do you think he worked on this movie?
7.
2? Yeah. He popped in, did a weekend.
He was barely in it. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
I mean, you heard his voice. 7's probably too high. You're probably closer.
Yeah, this is a Black Mirror episode, right? Like, or something to that effect, where it's just like an anthology series episode. It didn't need to be a movie. If you're going to leave it open-ended like this, it didn't need to be a movie, which is fine. Like, that's not even like my problem with the movie.
Rob, you like the first third. How do you make this movie good? Like, where do you go with it? Do you go into like the aftermath?
If you want it to be a movie, you have to go into the aftermath. If you want it to be an anthology show, then you do what you did here, but you just shorten it so that it's not redundant. It's too redundant. Like, have you ever watched a movie that's more redundant than this movie that you can think of?
Triangle. You ever see Triangle? Seems like a movie you've probably seen before, Rob.
I have not seen Triangle.
Oh, it's It's something you'd like.
Power of the Dog.
No, but is Power of the Dog repeating the same scenes over and over?
No, but it's just repeating different variations of this guy sucks over and over.
I like that.
Oh,
That's one of those movies I liked, but I'll never see again.
I can't stand it. I hate that movie.
Really?
The boringest movie I've ever watched.
We found a movie that you don't like. Power of the Dog.
I liked like one movie this year. This is a false misconception about
But you round up. You give like you grade a curve. Yeah,
I
didn't
like one of the
stars.
movies we watched this year. So this is a misconception.
I mean, the movie Freddy Got Fingered had more plot development than this movie. Like,
well, he wanted his sausage, and
brought you these jewels, Betty.
Backwards man, the backwards man. I got nothing else on Freddy. Unless anybody else has, we can move along. Daigle, how do you say this movie? How do you make this movie better? The first story we keep, right? And then, were they just kind of boxed in to their storytelling mechanism, and they kind of burned? They got burned by that.
Yeah, I don't know why that was a storytelling mechanism. Why they would ruin it and remove that drama in the second act. It just doesn't make sense, honestly.
Do we think something like this has happened in our lifetime and we just don't know it?
I think a lot of things have happened in our lifetime that have been saved by some form of the top of the government, and we are absolutely not allowed to know.
We're better off not knowing, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else here, boys, as far as House of Dynamite, before we give our scores and play the IMDb game?
no, I'm gonna give my score because unfortunately I have to jump. I have a guest spot that I have to go do.
You're not going to jump off any. You're on the ground level, right?
I have to watch this movie again. I'm gonna.
I picked it again.
What a terrible bit that would be if you just won like Dean won 4 weeks in a
We
row.
watched the same movie.
You just have to keep watching the same movie.
We'll be like watching it 6 times because you already watched it 3 times.
Yeah, that's a good point.
All right.
Hey, listen, we're doing our part. We're keeping Dean off the leaderboard.
Yeah, Liam Neeson's gone cold for a couple of weeks for sure. We'll have to get hot here.
And I was going to watch this movie, whether most of us were going to watch this movie had we not picked it or not. So at least we got to see it together.
Mm-hmm.
I liked it more than you guys did. I think there's more good than bad. And I
was interested. I was more interested than Rob, but I think my tight end review will be hopefully live up to what he's looking for.
I went back and rewatched The Hurt Locker afterwards. I was like, I need to change my perspective on Catherine Bigelow.
I'll tell you what, though, if Rob, the scores on this are going to be way higher than Rob think. Like,
I know it's gonna be because people are sheep. They heard that it had Oscar buzz, so they're gonna bump it up.
Does
They
this
read
movie
the
have
cast,
Oscar
they saw
buzz?
the
That is the
director.
first I've heard of it when you saying it. Like,
well, according to
I
Netflix, it does.
I had exclusively heard of this as a disappointment.
It is.
Okay. Interesting. Well, we're going to get to the scores here in a second. Rob, I don't want to keep you. If you got to go, by all means, fire off your score. And if you want to play the Rotten Tomatoes game, you have 5 minutes to play the game?
I have 5 minutes. Yeah. Let's do that. Yeah, we can bounce through that real quick.
What is your score? 1 through 5.
So we can do the Rotten Tomatoes game first.
Okay.
I'll start with saying that it is unfortunately going to be 83% for critics, 72% for audience.
And the critics also traditionally like Bigelow. TJ?
I'll go 75% critics, 76% audience.
Rich?
you got me in there. Yeah, they make the critics there. I'll say then 80% critics, 70% audience.
Daigle?
I was going to say 87 critics. I think they're going to be quite high on it. And then 73 audience.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I thought the audience would hate this more. 78% from the audience, which is slightly higher than the critics, 76%. So,
Oh, so close.
that is that surprised me. I thought the audience would.
I wouldn't have guessed that.
Yeah,
because there's no ending to the movie.
I think, and I did a Google. I was curious, like if people liked it. I was just, and yeah, people were very angry. Like, you built it all up for what? For nothing. Like a wet fart, whatever. They were not happy with how the movie ended. I understand it. Whatever.
I mean, yeah, like I said, I get it too, but
Let's knock out IMDb. IMDb score 1 through 10. Daigle, you go first.
6.9.
Rich.
And this is new too, so it probably doesn't have like a ton of stuff. I'll say 7.
I think it looks like 65,000 already votes for
Wow.
A House of Dynamite.
IMDb is usually sharper. I think this will get. It's probably lower though than what did I guess? I said 7 already to just do the Daigle. I just did the Daigle thing or the Price is Right thing.
Daigle's got boxed out.
Yeah.
TJ.
Well, 6-6 and box Rich out.
Well, Rob can do it.
I can go like if it's over 7, we're good.
Rob can do a thing.
I'm gonna surprise you guys, and I'm gonna go.
for our audio listeners, Rob did 6.
Wasn't that Rich's guess?
No, I guess
Yeah.
7.
You got 7.
Oh, I thought you got 6-7.
Yeah.
If this was Price is Right, we would start all over again. It's 6-4. 6-4 on
All right.
IMDb for A House of Dynamite.
6-1.
Oh,
Yeah,
Rob,
IMDb is just such a sharper group.
Traditionally, I would say
Well,
that's true.
the difference is IMDb is people rating it out of 10, and
True.
Rotten
Not
Tomatoes
a
is people
thumbs up,
giving it a
thumbs down.
thumb up or a thumb down.
Yep.
Yes, a more precise rating. That's a good point. Rob, 1 through 5. Dare I ask, where would you rate this movie? 1 through 5.
Rich, what's my score? You know, right?
Is it 6-7?
No, it's the most mid movie ever. It's a 2.5. Like it's absolutely mid. It probably should be lower than that, but I'll give the first act some credit.
Where are you going, Rob? Tell people where they can find you.
You can find me at Hometown Ghost Stories. I have to go do an interview. I don't remember the channel right now, but that's what I'm going to do. I'll be live in 10 minutes wherever that is. So
There you
I'll
go.
talk to you guys later.
Can I get my wrestling score before Rob gets off so he
Yeah.
can judge it? All right. So very quickly, this movie, all the drama, well written at the very beginning, then spoiled, ruined in the middle of its act, in the middle of a career. And then they try to bring it back with some sentimental, value and some planning at the end. So I believe this movie is Damien Sandow, who also began his career in a very intelligent way, eventually built up a lot of drama with Cody Rhodes as the Rhodes Scholars tag team, turned his back on Cody Rhodes to eventually win the Money in the Bank, goes on to cash it in against John Cena, and Vince McMahon ruined Damien Sandow's career from that point forward because they absolutely never wanted another champion besides John Cena. So despite Sandow having all the hype, he was the one who ultimately lost and eventually recovered much later on and copying The Miz as his stunt double, and that anything The Miz did, Damien Sandow also did. It was a big WrestleMania moment whenever he turned on The Miz. But that was years and years, nearly a decade later. They just tried to recover it like the movie did in this third act.
Yeah, and this movie definitely needed more stunt doubles at some point in it. So I gotta go, guys. Peace.
Go.
All right, Rob, take care.
He approves.
TJ, do you have a superhero?
I do. I'm going with a character from one of my favorite superhero universes who also doesn't get an ending. He just keeps on, no matter how many times he thinks he dies, he doesn't. And he just keeps reliving lives over and over again. They blend together until eventually he goes a little crazy. I'm going the Immortal from the Invincible universe.
Do we know who the Immortal is, boys? Rich, Daigle? Yeah? Rich, you can vouch the Immortal exists?
Voiced by a good friend of mine, Ross Marquand.
There you go. Shout out to the Immortal. Shout out to Ross. I'm going to give it 1 out of 100. I like the first third. I really like the first third. I thought the second third was fine. So I like 2/3 of the movie. So I'll give it a 66. We'll give it a 66 out of 100. Rich, you got a tight end?
Yeah, like you guys, I was interested. I was invested. But ultimately, it was incomplete. And the conclusion wasn't good. This is the Donald Parham for me.
Oh, I thought you were setting up a tight end like a famous incomplete pass. Did he have a famous incomplete pass?
No, but yeah, who'd you want me to do? Jackie Smith?
Who was the guy for the Cowboys, right?
Yeah, Jackie
Yeah.
Smith.
Well, I was thinking Dez, and I'm like, no, wait, Dez is not. He's a wide receiver. He's not a tight end. But then, yeah, famously Jackie Smith in the end zone, right?
Yep.
Just got to be somebody since then. Poor Jackie Smith. He's still the guy we're referencing. Somebody tight end. Somebody else had to drop a pass at some point. Mark Andrews, right? Why can't we say Mark Andrews? Maybe. I don't know. Too soon for Mark Andrews? All right.
You don't get to Rob gets to correct the wrestling scoring. You don't get to correct the tight end scoring, Dean.
I was just thinking the route. No. What I was going on is like, why are we still killing Jackie Smith? Is my point.
Yeah.
He had a long run. Somebody should have replaced him. Is this kind of the point I was trying to make? But all right, let's turn the page. What movie, Rich, are we watching next week?
Yeah, I was keeping up the same thing. Like we kind of have been, kind of had the ball rolling, except for the Liam Neeson bit. Is that just new releases keep coming out every time that I win that I was going to watch anyway. So if I'm going to watch it, might as well tie everyone else in. So Frankenstein is on Netflix tomorrow or Friday, one of the days, but this weekend. The Guillermo Toro Frankenstein. So and it's got Oscar Isaac and Christoph Waltz. Hopefully it's enjoyable. But I was gonna watch anyway, so that's what we're gonna watch.
He did Nightmare Alley, right? Was that Guillermo Toro? I believe so.
He did do Nightmare Alley. He also did one of my favorite movies ever, Pan's Labyrinth.
Yeah, Pan's Labyrinth.
I've never seen it.
Ooh.
Oh,
yeah,
Dean.
That's a good one.
It's a Dean movie too. It might be a TJ movie too, honestly. Yeah.
I love Nightmare Alley. The reason why I brought that up is because I saw on Hulu, apparently they released a director's cut. It's like a black and white director's cut of Nightmare Alley, like extended version on Hulu. So I think I'm going to watch that. It's like 3 hours. It's a long movie as is. Like what did they leave on the cutting room floor? But I think that's one of the more, I don't know. It's not underrated, I guess. It got some love, but one of my favorite movies of the last couple years, Nightmare Alley.
You also give yourself some extra homework and go watch Pan's Labyrinth this weekend too.
Oh, I think Pacific Rim and Hellboy are the only Guillermo del Toro movies I've watched.
Let's forget about Pacific Rim.
No.
He did Pacific Rim?
He
wrote it.
Okay. Did he? Yeah. He directed it as well. Yeah. According to Shape of Water. I saw that. That was
Shape of Water.
That's not the best Oscar movie, but it won for the Oscar, right? Wasn't it the Oscar winner? I believe it was.
It was the winner.
It's a weird one, which is fun.
I like Shape of Water more than the Nightmare Alley.
Nightmare.
Really?
No, Pan's Labyrinth is my favorite Guillermo Toro movie.
So I guess we have to watch Pan's Labyrinth at some point.
You have to.
Yeah,
do it this weekend. You should. You'll love it.
We almost did a Del Toro movie. We almost did Blade 2, right? He directed Blade 2.
Oh, then I guess that's definitely a Del Toro movie I've watched.
Yeah, he directed. I'm pretty because he was gonna do 3 and
I was looking at just.
That's when he did Hellboy. He was gonna do 3. He dropped doing the third Blade to do Hellboy.
He also did. He did Coraline for his daughter, which is one of my favorite Neil Gaiman books as well.
He directed
Crimson Peak. Crimson Peak he did is not the best, but interesting enough.
Yeah, I'm not aware of Crimson Peak. I'm going through his stuff right now.
It's got Hiddleston in it.
Who's in it?
Tom Hiddleston, the Loki dude.
Hiddleston.
Oh,
Hiddleston, yeah. That he's in it.
Should I see it?
You should watch Pan's Labyrinth first.
All right, we got a lot to watch this weekend. Anything else before we step aside? Well, let's tell the people where they can find us. TJ, if they're still with us, let them know where they can find you, where they can get your stuff.
Agentsoffandom.com on socials, wherever you get your wherever you get your podcasts. We got a lot of really exciting content coming over the next bit. We'll be covering The Running Man, Avatar: Fire and Ash, Wicked for Good, Welcome to Derry, Wake Up Dead Man, Stranger Things, Percy Jackson and the Olympians, Wonder Man, all over the next couple of months. We just did a podcast for the new season of The Witcher today, which is now streaming on Netflix. You can find that wherever you get your pods. And then here at RotoGrinders, all throughout the week on different basketball stuff. And I am on every single football show we have.
I did see Wonder
What's
Man.
the best football show that we have?
Come on, TJ.
Well, it's this one, of course.
There was a hesitation. I didn't know there was a
I was trying to give a genuine answer and being like, hey, are there any I want to like? They're all great. This is my favorite show of the week.
Daigle, where can the people find you?
EstablishTheRun.com, where the waiver wire is thinning out so much so that even in the rest of season 150 show, I went for the deep league bros to give them a shout out because, like, as Rich knows, having to do the waivers in like the high stakes FFPC and FFC, there's nothing. Until they learn their lesson and shorten benches, everyone keeps every running back known to man. So I even said, go out and pick up Phil Maffa. Let's get that deep and try to beat everyone to the contingency option for Javonte Williams. Also, by the way, I gave you a lot of homework, Dean, but I do want to give other people homework if they're listening because I'm wearing this rugby jersey that no one pointed out because my favorite bar in the entire country did a pop-up randomly one night only on Monday night, the Dead Rabbit Club out of New York, South Manhattan, right across from the Staten Island Ferry, and I won the raffle. I won their rugby jersey. So not only did I get there first in line, I waited an hour, which is okay, to have like the typical Irish pub experience from my favorite cocktail bar in the country. I also now have a takeaway. So if you're in New York, if you can train down to South Manhattan, go to the Dead Rabbit.
Have you played some rugby in your day? I know you spent some time in Australia. Is that something you've dabbled in or no?
No, I play soccer still to this day. I had 3 weeks off for my old body to heal, but no rugby. That seems way too rough. Like, have you seen them play?
And like no pads, basically.
No,
they just destroy each other.
And their scrums, like when they huddle, are literally just them banging heads without helmets on. It's crazy.
Yeah, the next level for sure. But speaking of homework, how much homework did Silva give you this week? How many games did he stick you with?
No, we only got 3 this week. We had the international game, the 2 primetime games, and they're all fun this week too. So it's okay.
Reeves, where can the people find you?
Sharp Pro Analysis, writing up every game every week, DFS plays, and then every Wednesday with my guys on the Pick Six Show.
All right, for Rob, for TJ, for Daigle, for who did we miss? For Catherine Bigelow.
Jackie Smith.
Shout out to Jackie Smith. There's got to be somebody else. Leave Jackie Smith alone. Go win something week 10. We're out of here. Oh,